Well, hey there. Welcome back to the After the Sermon podcast, this place where we discuss this past Sunday's sermon texts and give a little more insights and reminders of some application and just maybe some helpful reminders as we're going through this story of grace, and also look forward to the coming weeks with our looking at the now roller coaster that we're on as we get to the end of Genesis here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I am Pastor Ben here with Pastor Matt.
Hey, guys.
And every Sunday is exciting.
Every Sunday's exciting.
I mean, last week we had Spanish church coming through our speakers.
Yep.
And maybe it was a slight preview to some of the discussion that we had on Sunday, but just not in the way that we were planning.
Yeah. I go out of town, and now we've
turned into a bilingual service.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, Sunday was, yeah, you're right. Every Sunday is the best. I love gathering with our church. I look forward to it. It's part of our desires to create that culture of we want people to long to be here and worship. And that's why, and when we look at our church, and you and I know this, we talk about this, but we'll share it on the podcast here, is we take our role as shepherds as seriously as we can. We're not perfect. We want to care for people. And so we're every Sunday looking to see who's here, who's not here. And if you've missed two, then we're going to touch base with you. And so when I look and see who's present, we know that a lot of our church gathers with our church more than three times or more a month, which is so uncommon in our country. The average attendance on a Sunday morning, an average monthly attendance for a family is like 1.5 Sundays a month, which is 14-ish Sundays a year. And our church pushes against that statistic. And I think some of that is, hey, we long to be a culture of grace, and we want this place to be a place people love to come and be. And I love that our church, it's not just built around one or two people. It's looking out and seeing this individual who's been coming to our church for 10 years, talking to an individual who has only been coming for a few months, and they connect because of a common thing in their life, right? And so there's this, I love seeing the joy of people walking in the doors. And that's my favorite thing about Sundays, outside of, just the worship of the Lord. And so, because of that, we've ran into a little bit of a space problem. And
as I commonly say, the greatest problem to have.
Yes.
Although, yes, a problem, but a good problem.
But a good problem, a good, healthy problem. And so on Sunday, we announced, hey, because of the growth of our church and how the Lord is bringing people to us and continues to bring people to us, that beginning March 29th, the week before Easter, we're moving to 2 services on Sunday mornings. This is not a move that we take lightly. It's not a move that we just jump to. You and I have been wrestling. We talk about wrestling, right? The sermon. We've been wrestling with this for some time now. There was a meeting that we had with Bob Bumgarner, our local missional strategist for the First Coast churches, and who's a dear friend of mine. And we met with him a couple years ago, and he kind of laid out, kind of forecasted for us this reality of where we're headed as a church, and this is where we're at. And in order for you to have more space to bring your friend, continue bringing your friends and your neighbors and coworkers, then we're going to make this adjustment. And so we're looking forward to it. We're excited. Our servant leadership team, if you serve in some capacity, you will probably hear from, your servant leader, your ministry leader here this week, just asking questions. Our goal is to do this in such a way where it's not burdensome and not takes away from that joy. We want people to still find joy in coming. And so we've got plans. Your ministry leader will walk you through those things. But as I mentioned Sunday, hey, for some of you, this is going to be a time to step up and serve. Maybe you've been serving in one capacity and you're ready to take the next step and serve in a bigger role for the good of the church and for the good of the community as we seek to reach more people with the gospel. So if you didn't fill out the questionnaire, fill it out as soon as you can. If you got questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're going to navigate this. Growing pains are manageable, and as we take steps and grow, there's still going to be some adjustments, and we're going to have to fill some gaps. And we've got people, already lined up thinking through, hey, we don't even know what we're going to miss yet, right? But we know what we're not going to forget about is that God's called us to share His grace with every life, and we're going to continue proclaiming the message of the gospel because we are gospel champions, and we're going to be joyful encouragers as we seek to be bold missionaries and obedient disciple makers. And we've covered this with passionate praying for some time now, and it wouldn't be possible if we didn't have the generous contributors that we do in our church. And if you're new here, those are the 6 family traits of our church, and we're going to stick to it. And
if you want to know more about being a part of our church and dive really deep into those, we do have the intro next week.
Yeah, on March 8th. No.
Oh, no.
This week or next week. It's the endless debate.
Yeah.
It's in March. There's one in March. Check the app for the date of the next intro. So yeah, I'm thankful for just everybody involved in this and looking forward to just continuing to reach people with the gospel of Jesus and making disciples. And just the stories that I've been told from this year, right? It's the end of February, this year alone. People who have found Grace Life to be a place where they can grow in God's word and be discipled like they've never been before. A place where they're learning to deal with their past as Jacob did. And a place where they can learn and grow in Jesus. And they'll come to faith in Jesus. Getting asked the question, how do I know if I'm saved, is what it's all about. And we want to make sure we make as much space in this. There's always room for one more, and that's not always convenient, and it steps us out of our comfort zones. But by faith, as we've been talking about, the Lord is leading us and guiding us, and we're trusting Him and His Spirit that He's given us. Anything else you want to say to that?
I mean, the Lord is good to provide what we've needed. A few weeks ago we celebrated our birthday, Sunday, and just, for the people who have been around at some of these different places, whether it was at the launch or during COVID and moving into the Shrine Club or moving into this space, or even just, again, being here the last few months and seeing, I've been making the joke, we keep track of just number of people for logistics sake, knowing that something's got to give at some point. And so when we're saying only 91, 3 years ago, if that was 91, that only would not.
We weren't even, just a couple years ago, we weren't having that amount of people on Easter Sunday.
Right. So the Lord's doing a great work.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to be good stewards of the time and the space that the Lord has given us, in order that, because He's building His church and He will accomplish His will.
Yeah. And if you missed the announcement on Sunday, we recorded it. It's not attached to the sermon, but if you want to see it and listen to it, we'll figure out a way to get it to you. That way, maybe we'll do like breaking news to the church app.
Sure.
All right, make it happen. All right, with that being said.
Sunday's sermon also, I think, was appropriate for us as far as we're looking at the story of Jacob and Esau and the wrestling that God does with Jacob. And certainly this has been something God's been wrestling with us. And just, again, not always knowing exactly every single last detail, but knowing that God is providing the direction. He is faithful to His promise, as we talked about last week, and continues to work with us and sometimes in spite of us.
Yeah.
Right. And Jacob's life shows some clear pictures of that completion of God's divine purpose and his will.
One of the challenges with this series for me is all of these stories are very familiar. And so I've either taught them in Sunday school, like some of these stories are the first lessons I taught, 25 years ago. And so they're familiar. I've never, at least I don't recall working through Jacob and in the wrestling match with God like I did. And it was so good. Like to see the contrast all throughout Jacob's life with deception and division. And God deals with him and says, your will is not going to win out. My will win out. And this is the struggle within the Christian life. It is as I showed the heartbeat monitor, right? It's just the ups and downs. Like this is a heartbeat, right? It should go up. It should go down. Like this is what we're seeing. It's not good if it's flat, right? And so that heartbeat represents our life. It's up and down, up and down. We have no more ups and downs. When we have no more ups and downs and life is flat, then we have no life. We have departed this world. And so it's easy to zoom in and look at these ups and downs and say, God, where are you? What's going on? But if we really examine, usually the issue's us, that our will has been pitted against God's will. And so we find ourselves struggling because of our own sin or because we've been sinned against, like Jacob dealt with. We find ourselves being stubborn, like, God bless me. And I don't know how many times I've been stubborn of, I'm going to get my own way, right? This is the human nature. Yet in all of that, God, in his grace and mercy, and Jacob recognizes this at the end of the story, God in his grace and mercy spared Jacob's life. Because Jacob named where he was Peniel, and said, because I saw God face to face and I was spared. And so he recognizes he's a sinner. The man he wrestled is a savior. He has a posture and change. The Lord gives him a new identity. You're not a deceiver anymore. This is who you are. You're someone that has striven with God and survived. And my blessings are going to be, you don't get to dictate how my blessings are played out, right? So that's where you get to Romans 9. We didn't even talk about this, where God says, Esau have I hated, Jacob have I loved. If you look at it, there's this, like, man, it's strong language, but it's not like Jacob's lovable. There's not really, for the longest time, a redeeming quality in the life of Jacob, right? And his life is not marked by good Christian health.
Right. It's not like where Noah is described as righteous man. We don't.
Yeah. Jacob's life is contrast to all of that, to Abraham's. And there's faith. Well, even Jacob's faith is not really in Hebrews 11, and I'll pull it up here, where you got by faith Jacob, when dying, blessed each of the sons of Joseph, bowing in worship over the head of the staff. And so you see Abraham's faith and Noah's faith. It's in like the midlife. Isaac's faith is, by faith Isaac invoked future blessings on Jacob and Esau. And we didn't get into that story, but Jacob's faith comes at the very end of his life. And so I think that is fitting to our lives. Much of our life is the ups and downs, learning to, by faith, submit to the will of the Lord in our lives.
Well, and that's, the kind of first point from Sunday you landed on is that God sees and knows every struggle that we're enduring. That those ups and downs aren't a surprise. They're not, we obviously can't predict everything and know everything, but we can trust that God is working. He knows the struggles. Some of them might be things we've caused on our own. Some of them might be things that were done against us.
Yeah.
But none of it is a surprise to God, but also none of it is meaningless.
Yeah, God's fully aware of all of it. And as I closed out in the sermon, Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to them who love God, to those who are called according to his purposes. And here's the beauty of that. That good may not be seen here on this earth. It's tied to the blessings found in Jesus. You want to know how it works out? That when I close my eyes in death and I wake up, I'm with Jesus. But here's the good on this. This is a tweet I saw, so I can't take credit. If I close my eyes in death, I wake up and I'm with Jesus. If I open my eyes in life, then I know Jesus is with me. And that's the beauty of the life of faith. And that's the wrestling that we're all dealing with. Our will versus the will of the Lord. And I wish I could say that it stops. But I think even through this process of 2 services, Lord, where are you going? What are we doing? Where are you sending us? What do we need to do? There's a dependence on, all right, the Lord has continued to work. We, by faith, just step into a season. He didn't say it's going to be easy. And he didn't say it would be clear. But he did say to get out of the way and follow him. And so that's what a life of submission to the Lord looks like.
Yeah. And as we look forward to the coming week and seeing just the continued blessings of Jacob, renamed Israel, into really the story of Joseph, which, a lot happens leading up to that and then throughout Joseph's life, getting through that Sunday. It's such a great story, and seeing Joseph's faith and his reliance on God in the face of his brothers, leaving him for dead and selling him. And just so many struggles there. But through it all, God is always faithful.
Yeah, he is. And that's what we cling to. As we've talked about, Psalm 37 says, befriend faithfulness. And that just means befriending God. There's no need to wrestle with him. But if we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, he will wrestle with us.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we will look forward to seeing you in life groups again. If you're not already hanging out in one, always easy to join. It's a good time with people, food, fellowship, just talking more about Sunday morning sermon, and just always a great time.
Yeah.
As always, if you need something, don't hesitate to reach out. Especially, and again, as you have questions, as things come up when we're talking about these 2 services, please reach out. Don't just sit and let a question go unanswered, or let thoughts lead you to somewhere that's not really a good place to go. But regardless, we will look forward to seeing you next Sunday. God bless.